Friends, I wanted to first of all apologize for the drama that happened on my channel. I'm not going to apologize for how I handled it. I was sticking up for myself, but I do want to apologize that it did happen. I thought the drama was over, and but there's always those I guess those lag-alongs that just can't grasp reality. But I do want to reiterate that I would never ever denounce anything that Martin Groves says or has done. He is one of the most credible human beings that I've ever had the pleasure of speaking with. And if he said his events happened, which they did, it did. It's that simple. I was just simply giving my opinion to several questions, the same question that was asked about the LBL being safe. And yes, I do believe the LBL is safe. I'm not going to get into that, but just because two people's opinions and events and ideas may be opposites of each other, it doesn't mean that either one of us is wrong, and it doesn't mean that his events didn't happen and weren't true, and it doesn't mean that what happened to me isn't true. So that's what I wanted to say on that. You can't find a place since I've been on YouTube that I've ever denounced Martin Groves once, and it will never happen. That simple. Getting on with this, I have another question. Well, it's not really a question, but it was more of a statement by Trey, and he has a good point, and it should be put out there as a question. So that's how I'm gonna answer it as one. And it's just kind of loosely what he was trying to make a point of, but I think he was trying to say, and Trey, if I'm wrong, please correct me, and I will be more than happy to to make this right. But we need to be more worried about what the government has out there right now, that could possibly be hurting us and attacking us, be it in our national forest or even possibly here, in an urban setting. And that's what I want to address. I can tell you for a fact, 100%, and believe me, people, I have the knowledge about this 100%, is you do not have anything to worry about as far as government-produced experimental hybrids ever attacking you, attacking your loved ones, attacking anybody in the national park systems or anywhere for that matter. And that's where I think people get confused with these government programs, which obviously they are out there. But what I want to explain to you this morning is there a difference between the government-produced hybrids and the natural, I guess, lack of a better term, the natural occurring or however they're brought to be, dogmen or cryptids? Well, I can't intelligently comment on the ones that are naturally out there because I don't know. I've never seen one. I've never experienced one. And a lot of people argue with me, well, you were attacked by it. I said, no. First of all, I wasn't attacked. The family was attacked, okay? Number two, they were not dogmen. Then there's the argument, well, you know that they have the DNA of a lot, okay? Yes, I do know that. But they are not classified as a dogman or a cryptid because they are experimentally, basically man-made, okay? I know that sounds crazy, but they are. Yes, and it is obviously a program that is funded by the government, your tax dollars, okay? But I'm here to tell you 100% for a fact, you don't have to worry about the government produced hybrids ever hurting you, because I tell you why. All of them, every single one of them that's out there and that's still happening today are specifically designed for one thing, and that is to protect our society. Now, I know that sounds kind of strange, but I'm going to get into this. I did a little bit on a couple of the other videos, but they are specifically designed to protect law-abiding, good American citizens. They know the difference. This is bred into them. Now, the ones that were at the LBL that evening that I encountered, okay, they were tweaked. They were being manipulated behind Walt's back. And I know people are also going to comment and say, well, you know, the all-seeing Walt, the all-knowing Walt, how could that happen? Well, it did. It just did, and things like that happen. But that was a one-time deal. That's never happened in history. Never. The only time that's happened, and Trey kind of touched on this a little bit, these programs go back to, clear back to the 40s. Actually, they go back to 1937 specifically. The first one, of my knowledge, was actually seen by human eye 1939. Okay. That's that's pinpointing it because I kind of know. But these were designed and are being designed to protect us, okay? Now, this is something you would have no idea of knowing. But in the first time in the history of these, were they going to be used, and that was just 2 to 3 years ago. And I'm not going to say specifically why, but I'll go around the bush, so to speak, because you're hearing this through what channel and what service, okay? So the reason I'm going to say it like this is to keep them out of it, quote-unquote them. And I'm talking about a specific group. I'm not talking about the government. So kind of get your thinking cap-ons and get ready to decipher some things. Think back 2 or 3 years ago when America was being basically burnt to the ground, destroyed. Okay. We were under what? We were under the threat of domestic terrorism. This wasn't protests, people. People were actually being paid to destroy our communities. That's a fact. There's no argument there. You can't argue it. That's a fact. We were under domestic terrorism. We were under attack. The United States of America was under attack. Okay. And it was almost kind of exciting for me to be one of the first people to know this. And I couldn't have said anything anyway. But we were within hours of these hybrids being used to protect our American citizens. Okay. Now, I told you a long time ago that I didn't really know about, why they were being bred for what? Well, I said because of to protect boots on the ground, to protect our soldiers, our Marines, Air Force, Navy, all of our armed services, so there'd be less casualties to them. And if there was any casualties, it'd be to these hybrids, which would be very, very hard to do in an urban setting, like urban warfare, okay? I hope you know where I'm going with this, or where I'm trying to, I've already been, so to speak. This was going to be the first chance for Americans to see what these hybrids can do, and then it would have been open, that everybody would have known that these things exist, which most of us know that they do exist. It would have sealed the deal, okay? But people have to separate the government produced hybrids from the ones that they say are out in our national parks and forest, possibly killing people, taking people. And I mean the Sasquatch too. A lot of people say Sasquatch are government produced or whatever. I can't intelligently speak on the ones that are supposed to be natural. I have never seen an actual. I don't know how I'd say it. A nature produced dogman or Sasquatch. Now I've seen, as far as Sasquatch, I think, I can't say that I actually have. I've seen one, okay? But until I'm face to face or getting killed by one of these things, I can't say it for 100%, okay? So, people, please be at rest about, or at ease. Leave the government out of it when it comes to these dogmen that you think that the government are just turning out on a conveyor belt, and they're just spitting them out chutes, and they're going off into the woods and different areas of the United States and hunt people. Now you got to think, everybody's smart that's on this channel that listens to me. All right, if that were the case, these thousands of these things being out there, they would be. I mean, there would be 100% sightings with phones, cameras. I mean, we just know we'd be seeing them, okay? And the death rate, people, the death rate would be 20 times what it is now. If these government-produced hybrids were actually made to be bad, which they're not, okay? That's common sense. All right. Now I know there's people out there that podcasters, live streamers that supposedly have had this guy on here that claims that he's an FBI or ex. It's always ex something. You know what I mean? Ex CIA with the government, ex FBI. And these things are being tracked, and he's part of this tracking system, and they track them. Okay, now part of that is true. These things are chipped, so if they can be followed. It's not because they're following him because they're gonna, they don't want him to get loose because they're gonna kill people and things like that because of their destructive nature. Not true. The government ones, I'm telling you, people. I'm going to try to drill this in as much as possible, okay? You're going to get sick of it. The government-produced hybrids are not aggressive towards peaceful civilians. Is not going to happen, will never happen. Like I said, the only reason that I was involved with the bad ones is because they were being tweaked behind Walt's back. But that will never happen again. I guarantee that. And I'm not sticking up for the government one bit here, believe me. But please, open up your mind, refresh it. I'm not saying erase it, but refresh it. And think outside of what you're hearing all the time, especially on these podcasts and these cryptid shows. It's just, that's why I don't listen to them anymore. Every once in a while I'll get a subscriber that'll say, hey, go over and check this person's channel out. And I'll do that out of respect, and I really will. I'll listen to a little bit of it, and it sounds like it's going to be credible. I'll finish out the show, but rarely, when the guest actually starts speaking, do I get more than 15 minutes in, and it's the same thing. It's just the same thing. Everybody wants their 15 minutes of fame. And, then they feel good about themselves, and, they're a hero to their family and community for a couple of months, and then poof, they're gone. It's history, as they say. But just please, for me, or for yourself, just separate the government from the ones that are out there naturally, if they are out there. Obviously, Martin's had several run-ins with them, and has done several interviews, or I should say investigations, where these things have caused harm. So absolutely, if he said that, those particular ones are out there and have done that, it happened. I'm guaranteeing you there's no dogmen, quote unquote, cryptids running around out there. They're produced by the government, just overtaking everything, because believe me, if these things were set out to do harm to peaceful citizens, it wouldn't take long for, I mean, there's a lot of people in the United States of America, I know that, but it wouldn't take long for them to mow us down pretty quick like. So I hope that hope it gives you something to think about. I want to tell you about something else. A very, very nice lady by the name of Robin gave me a call. She's from Eleanor, Missouri. So look that up on the map if you want to know where it's at. And she called me about an incident that took place in September of 2020 to her and her dog Houston, a cute little beagle. And it's Mayhem Springs Recreation Area. It's along the Black River. And she's frequented that place quite often. She was actually headed to a place called Eagle Bluff Trail. And I guess what's real famous about this place is they have these bubbling springs, tons of them, and they bubble up, and there's just something really unique about them. I didn't do a lot of research on it yet, but anyway, she was with her dog Houston. Beautiful September day. She'd been there several times before, as I'd said. And they were walking along the Black River, going towards this Eagle Bluff Trail. And she said Houston started acting kind of skittish. Another pulling on his leash, which he normally didn't do. Being more aware, like he was just on point, so to speak. Got to the point where she was actually having to pull pretty hard to get him to go. He was wanting to drag his ass, in other words. And so she thought, well, he's bored, tired, whatever. Picked him up and carried him a little ways. And Houston isn't a huge dog or tiny, kind of in between, kind of a overfed beagle, literally. And so she put him down and said, enough of this. I ain't going to carry you the whole way like a baby. So she had got about another 10 or 15 feet, and he just dropped down to his belly and would not move. Absolutely would not move. She said he was quivering, he was shaking. So didn't know. Thought maybe, who knows? Maybe he was getting sick. Just wasn't sure. But she felt that maybe that there was something in their presence, and she didn't at that time think it was anything cryptid or anything like that. Not paranormal, something like we would be thinking. So she picked him up again, carried him a little farther. Well, he actually tried jumping out of her arms. So she said, "What's wrong?" She sat down, crossed her legs, and petted him. And they were just, at that point, they weren't too far from these long set of steps. And if you look up the Eagle Bluff Trail or this Markham Springs Recreation Area, I don't know if it's made out of a natural stone block or wood. I can't remember, but anyways, a pretty steep set of steps that go up, and they weren't too far from that. It was actually, across. They had to cross the Black River at that point. But anyway, she thought she saw something, almost all the way to the top. There was some trees there in the way. But she said it looked almost like in the summertime, like she said, when you look down the highway on a hot day, it's kind of like, it looks like heat waves or mirage you see in the desert. She just thought, what the hell's wrong? I'm seeing things, kind of shook her head and rubbed her eyes a little bit and stood up, said, "Come on, Houston, let's go." Pulled him with the leash a little bit to get some motivation underneath his butt. And he went about three or four more steps and dropped and started whimpering. At that particular time, her back was turned away from the stair, those steps that go up. And she said she just instantly felt it. Just felt like it was just an ice cold, just ice cold wind or something went over. And yeah, it's September, but still, it was a nice day. It was, I think she said it was in the 60s or something like that. Felt this ice cold wave come over. Felt just like dread. She said she felt like something told her to turn around. She turned around, and the thing was in full form, whatever it was. Now it's going to be like everything else that you hear out there. I'll just basically say she thought it was a grizzly bear standing up, and so you know where I'm going with this. But she couldn't believe what she was seeing. She didn't know if it was an actual grizzly bear. She didn't know what it was, and she had no reason to know. She wasn't into this cryptid stuff. To me, it sounded like kind of like that. It's the Predator, not Terminator, but Predator. That thing that kind of looked like liquid metal and looked like water going through the tree, stuff like that. That's kind of how she explained it. Scared to death, she picked up the dog. Dog went out. She picked up the dog again to run. She turned back around one last time, and the thing was gone, whatever it was. So it manifested. It went from this shimmering light or heat wave looking thing to a full form, which she described it just like what a Sasquatch would look like, to being gone again. And this happened within seconds, 10 or 15 seconds, she said. So she asked me if I would go with her. And I don't know. I'm going to have to check to see if this park's open, see if it's accessible in the wintertime like this, if I can get permission, what I have to do, legally to be there and let them know what I'm going to be doing. So thought you people would be excited. I'm excited about it. And there again, if anybody's down in that area of Eleanor, Missouri, or near Mayhem or Markham Springs recreation area along the Black River, shout out. If I go, I'll we'll maybe meet up or something like that. I want to, as long as it doesn't get in the way with the investigation I'm going to do. I don't want a lot of people out at that site while I'm there. But if you want to meet up or something afterwards or before, that would be great. So, all right, people, I really appreciate you listening to me. Again, the the subscribers that keep just kind of rolling in, I greatly appreciate you, and of course the ones that have been with me since day one. Love you like family, because you are. The picture you see in front of you have seen before. This is the first time that I've ever done this, other than my immediate family, and I'll tell you in a different video. But one of these gentlemen in front of you is Walt, and as you know, very, very influential in my life. A great mentor, great human being, and he has somebody that's right now that's following in his footsteps. That's a great human being. So, excuse me, get emotional about it, but you people mull it through and you let me know who you think it is, and I'll let you know if you're right. I'm not trying to play a game or anything here, but I will tell you in the next video which one is Walt. But he's a very distinctive individual. God bless, Godspeed, and I'll chat at you later.